Hey, you deserved a good week, and a good week you had. The price of gold was up $100 per ounce. What about silver? Did you take a look at silver? It was up almost $1 whole per ounce. Look, we've been through the mill. You've suffered. If you're a precious metals investor, if you invest in the mining stocks, you've had a rough stretch. The past week, really, starting last Friday, have been very supportive, very optimistic for the precious metals and the mining stocks. But what happened? What were the big stories? There's a lot that happened. We're going to cover that, but there's two big factors that I think we need to look at as we try to figure out, will gold and silver, will the mining stocks continue their march forward? Let's get started right now. I got something very important to tell you, and it's something nice, so sit back and take a compliment. I really appreciate you giving me some of your precious time to join me right now. From somewhere in the world, it's me and you. We have a common interest, right? We like gold, we like silver, we like precious metal mining stocks, but most importantly, the connection with you, the viewer, is awesome. Thank you for joining me. If you get any value out of the content, please consider subscribing. Find the little ring-a-ling-ding-a-ling bell notification. But enough of the niceties. Let's move on to gold, the subject we have to be very happy about. Gold ended the week up almost $100. Can you believe that? $17.75 per ounce. It seems like just a week or two ago we were bouncing around $16.20. Actually, it made kind of a triple bottom at $16.20 per ounce. And starting Friday of last week, began this up move, which has been very powerful and very optimistic for gold. But hey, we've believed, we've hung in there all along. We deserved it because we've been through some choppy damn waters. Let's hope and let's believe, because I do believe, I don't know how you feel, but I believe that the price of gold is still vastly undervalued. And you might be wondering about the mining stocks. Well, the gold mining stocks had a great week, up about 11%. The GDXJ, the index that tracks the junior gold mining index, ended around $35 per share. Don't forget, back in April of this year, it was at $52 per share. It would have to go up more than 50% still from where it is right now. After this most recent really great run, it would still need to go up 50%. So I don't know how you feel about this, but when I think about it, that's a big runway. That's a big way that it has to go just to get back to where it was in April. It could be a sign of potential explosive growth in the mining stocks. Do you love silver? I love silver, and silver had a great week as well, up $1, up 6%, however you want to slice it or dice it. And the silver mining stocks also had a great week, almost up 10%. We could go on for hours. We could watch the darn sunset over my shoulder talking about all the benefits to silver. I believe firmly still right now that the price of silver is vastly undervalued. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's where we get to know you, and that's where we get to learn from you. Be a part of the community. Leave a comment. We want to hear from you. And what do you think about the major markets like the S&P 500? It started the week about 3772, ended the week almost at 4,000. The general markets also did very well, up about 6% for the week. I would say the mood is a little more optimistic, and we're going to talk about why these big moves happen. And don't forget, there's two big key things we need to look at as we get deeper into the video. The 10-year bond yield dropped from about 4% all the way down to 3.8%, and the US dollar index was down 5% for the week. Both of those factors, the bond yields and the dollar dropping, are very bullish for the precious metals. Now let's talk about our old friend Bitcoin. Let me take a look here. I can hardly believe what I'm reading. $21,400 to start the week, ending the week at $17,000 per Bitcoin, down almost 20%. Now, if you hold it, I apologize. I am not a fan of cryptocurrencies, but I think it's time for Michael Saylor and Max Kaiser and some of those other guys to turn off their laser eyes. Now, let's talk about these two big things that happened this week that affected the price of the precious metals. First, we got huge market-moving news when the CPI, the inflation numbers, came out on Thursday, I believe it was, of last week. Inflation's only running at 7.7% officially. Now, we know the real number's actually much, much higher, but nonetheless, that was greeted with much joy and happiness by the general markets because people now think that the Fed can slow down on their aggressive monetary policy and that will mean a little easier money environment. That made the dollar go down, that made the 10-year bond yield go down, but that also made precious metals kind of sort of miniature skyrocket. And I'll say miniature because I think gold and silver, their prices have a ton more room to run. So have you noticed that while we have the Fed now needing to maybe slow down a little bit because inflation's coming down, at the same time, we still have an economy that is darn near crashing. Real estate is crashing. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you slice it or dice it, I think, and from what I read, and I want to know what you think, but isn't it feeling like we are at the very beginning stages of real estate maybe falling off a cliff? How big of a cliff, we don't know. A lot of people are trapped in their mortgages now that they have 30-year mortgages, less than 3%. So there may not be a huge supply of houses coming on the market, but it just feels, and the statistics show, that we are right on the precipice of a cliff in the real estate market. The general economy, we know, is slowing down as well. FedEx is grounding some of their airplanes because they have no use for them. People aren't shipping stuff. I wonder why. Do you think maybe that's because the economy's slowing down? The big international shipping company that ships all those giant container ships all over the world, they are canceling sailings because there's not enough demand to ship products throughout the world. So yeah, sure, maybe there's activity going on. Does this make sense to you? There's activity going on at the same dollar level that maybe it was a year ago because prices are all now so much higher. The actual volume, right, because prices have gone up, that has dried up, and that's going to mean things like job losses and more economic hardship, and will require the Federal Reserve and central banks throughout the world to knock it off when it comes to this aggressive monetary policy. And that, what do you think? Do you think that might be good for gold, silver, and the precious metals? Let's move on to the second major story of the week. But before we do that, I want to remind you, leave a comment in the comment section below. My viewers, that's you. It's you and me right now. Sure, we're part of a much larger group, but right now, baby, it's me and you. You guys are smart. I have learned. I'm selfish. I want to learn more from you. Leave a comment in the comment section below. It's where I can learn from you, everyone else can learn from you, and we can get to know you. Now, the second big story of the week was this FTX cryptocurrency exchange that essentially imploded. The young man who was running it, Sam Bankman, interesting middle name, Fried, he has now resigned from the company. The company has claimed bankruptcy. This was like the second largest or one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges. This guy was like regarded as one of the top leaders and a super quality guy running this. If there's any question about crypto at this point, whether or not it's a little shady and shaky and the Wild West, whatever you want to call it, I think there's no argument at this point, right? You got guys like Max Kaiser and Michael Saylor, who I just personally don't feel comfortable with at the tops of these companies that are promoting cryptocurrency. Look, where are those people going to look? This is how it has to do with gold and silver. I didn't forget about us gold and silver fans. They always like to sell themselves in the crypto world as the new gold, the new silver. Well, that's not working out too well. So while they obviously knew there were benefits to gold and silver, getting outside of the central banking system, that type of thing, as their crypto universe implodes, and if it continues to implode, I think we're going to get at least a portion of those people coming on over to the gold and silver ship, and hey, we'll let them on board. We'll throw them a life raft, but they better hurry up because the availability of the physical metals is drying up. Look at the COMEX, look at the LBMA. The COMEX, I just read this morning, their inventory dropped even more significantly last week on silver alone. It likely could, in a very short period of time, become very, very difficult to acquire physical silver and gold. So these crypto crashers, if they want to come, the life rafts are in the water, but they better grab on real soon. I think it might be time for us to wrap this up. But again, thank you, the one and only you, for joining me today. Geopolitically in the world, nothing much really changed this week. We still have major strife and conflict, a division in the world between the East and the West, obviously war in the Ukraine. The BRICS nations, I did see, I don't know if you saw this, but I saw a very, very interesting map that showed not just the BRICS countries, but also the other countries in the world that are expressing an interest in applying to join the BRICS. Argentina, possibly Saudi Arabia, just all these countries throughout the world. And don't forget, they're starting their own reserve currency, which will be at least partially backed by silver and gold. And Vladimir Putin's going to reprice silver and gold with the Moscow World Standard. So nothing changed on the geopolitical level. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is stagflation, because nobody's talking about it. We'll talk about it because the things that nobody's talking about are sometimes the most important and the ones that are really, truly going to have a big impact. Yeah, sure, the government says we have inflation at 7.7%, but what do you think? Doesn't that still seem a little high? And at the same time, we know we have this drastically slowing economy. A slowing economy with still high inflation, even at the official 7.7 number, that's stagflation. Guys, I know nobody's talking about it, but stagflation is the most fertile ground for the price of the precious metals. Maybe that's part of the reason why we had such a great week. I don't know. We're going to find out. One thing I do know, I appreciate you joining me, and I want you, yes, you're important, your mommy loves you, I love you, and I want you to be well. Until next time we talk.